Democratic members of Congress from Texas, Veronica Escobar. She's also a member of the House Judiciary Committee. Congressman, let me just start with that, Justice, just your reaction to what's happening, your reaction to the Michael Flynn news.
Well, it's outrageous, Chuck. But it's unfortunately par for the course for what is a very corrupt and lawless administration. And so it's incumbent on us, especially those of us on the Judiciary Committee, to find out, get to the bottom of this. We are going to be issuing a letter to the Inspector General asking for a full investigation. Our Chairman Nadler, released a statement earlier today. We are eager to get the Attorney General before our committee, and we had planned to do so before the pandemic hit. But it's clear that this administration uses a really tragic time for our country, like the pandemic, when folks are focused on trying to keep people safe and healthy and alive, that they use this time. It's kind of like being under cover of night to continue with their very corrupt practices.
He's been in office since February 14th. I know you've had a number of invitations to the Attorney General to actually testify once before Judiciary. Now, he had supposedly had accepted an invite, correct? I don't want to say he snubbed you a couple times, but he had accepted an invite? But it was the pandemic that paused it this last time.
Right. Now, you never know what he's going to do. He backed out the last time at the very last possible moment. But we were all planning to be there, prepared to question him.
Let's talk about Texas and reopening. There was the news reports that some leaked audio from Governor Abbott, who seemed to be expressing what anybody in his position would express, like, OK, if we reopen this, the numbers are going to go up. And that seems to be, that's an undeniable fact. We know this. And I think the question is, do you give the public enough confidence to feel like the risk is worth it? So let me ask the question that way. Do you feel like the Texas public has enough confidence to make it worth trying this phased reopening?
Chuck, we are all feeling a lot of pain. There are so many constituents of mine who've reached out, who are desperate to get back to work, who are barely getting by, trying to make ends meet. The pain is everywhere. But at the same time, I'm also hearing from employees who are very concerned about going back into what they are afraid might be unsafe conditions. The only way to address the economic pain and the economic challenge that we face is to address the health issue, the monumental health challenge that we face. You mentioned in your opening that Texas is near dead last in testing. We may not have yet reached our peak. And the governor, one of the out of the many failures that he's exhibited, much like President Trump, his mentor, but one of the many failures of our governor is that he hasn't acknowledged that there are vulnerable communities that need increased testing. So not only are we having or seeing anemic testing in the state of Texas, but one of the things we know, and I learned directly from Dr. Fauci, is that minority communities, Black and Latino communities, should be treated and tested and provided contact tracing at the same level as assisted living facilities and nursing homes. That's precisely what Dr. Fauci told the Congressional Hispanic Caucus on a call late last week. I've had a couple subsequent conversations with him. So that means communities like mine, El Paso, which is over 80% Latino, we are more vulnerable and susceptible to COVID-19 because of underlying health conditions and poverty. So he has yet to unveil a plan to protect communities.
Right. Do you feel like you're getting the data reported in the demographics that are necessary for you to see this story? I mean, we're seeing in Illinois, sadly, they're releasing these demographics, and we can see firsthand the disparities before our eyes. Is Texas releasing its data in detail enough for you to see the demographic trends?
No. In fact, there's not a whole lot of insight into all of the testing, for example, who's being tested. That we had to, in our CARES Plus package, the supplemental that we just passed, we had to obligate the CDC to report its own demographic data, but we're not getting very much data or meaningful data from the state of Texas, much less a plan. If we had a plan for robust testing that specifically addressed essential workers, their families, vulnerable communities, people would feel a lot better. But until we address that health challenge, as I mentioned at the top of our visit, it's going to be very hard to address the economic challenge.
Fear of the unknown creates uncertainty, creates economic confusion, creates the situation we're in anyway. Congresswoman Escobar from El Paso, Democrat from Texas, thank you for coming on and sharing your views. I appreciate it.